Hello, everyone, and welcome to another iWorkinSport live interview. This is the show where we talk to accomplished sport business professionals who come here to share their knowledge, their experience, tips, and advice in order to help you succeed in your career. Uh, if we're just meeting, my name is João Frigerio. I'm the founder of iWorkinSport, and I want to say a big thank you to you who are here with us today. If you're coming back to the show, you know the drill. This is supposed to be very interactive. So do prepare your questions, your comments. We're really waiting for your participation. Um, and if you're not coming back, this is the first time, same message to you. This is interactive. We want your participation, but also put in the comments that this is the first time for you. That would be nice for us to know. I'll actually invite everybody who's watching us to start by writing the comments where you're watching from. Would be lovely for us to know that. So today I'll have the pleasure to welcome to the show Neelay Bhatt. He's the co-chair and curator of the first ever TEDSports. So the TEDSports Indianapolis, which will take place from the 9th to the 11th September in Indianapolis, USA. With a career spanning global strategic consulting, public service, and now TED's leap into the world of sport, Neelay has long been at the intersection of innovation, inclusion, and leadership. Well, has a very long CV. It would take a while to do. Well, I could do a much longer introduction, but without further ado, let me invite Neelay to join me right after this. Hello, Neelay. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you. How are you?
Likewise, Rob. Thank you for having me.
How are things in Indianapolis? How are the preparations going? All good?
As I would say, we are excited for all of this to happen.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Listen, Neelay, we really cover a lot of things in these interviews. We try to focus on the guest experience, you know, the knowledge that they can share with people, especially those ambitious to that are starting or thriving or a career in sport. So I always ask my guests to start giving a brief of their own career. So can you maybe do that? Tell us what you studied and how did your career progress until you started working with sport and until what you're doing now?
Sure, happy to. I grew up in India, in Mumbai, 22 million people, mega city as well, and always loved sports. Cricket is a religion, so everybody plays cricket, like football in Brazil, as you very well know. But also grew up around a lot of different sports, football, martial arts, all of that, and always had the passion for this. Even the school I went to, Don Bosco, was always big into sports. So that was a part of my life. And to my parents' credit, they always supported all of that as well. But there really weren't careers in sports at the time. This is 25 plus years ago. So you either played cricket and you made it, and it was just men's cricket really at the time, or you didn't. And part of my thought was I would still love to be involved in sports in any way I can. And so that led me going from Mumbai in India to Athens, Ohio, to Ohio University, which is the home for the first and the number one ranked sports management program in the world. And so I was fortunate enough to be the first person from India accepted there, spent 2 wonderful years there, and was lucky then to go from Athens, Ohio to Athens, Greece, Probably the first person who ended up doing that and getting to
I
work.
just got back from
Uh,
there, actually.
the,
I was in Greece.
a beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful people.
Beautiful, yeah.
What one of the most transformational memories of my life. But I got to be part of the Athens Olympics and Paralympic Games and be in the Olympic Village around 200 plus countries, and just an unbelievable experience. And that was the last one before smartphones, right? So there were no cameras. Social media was very early. I think they still called it the Facebook at the time. So like that's how old this was. But the beauty of that was, people were unguarded. It was more organic. I didn't have cameras, or athletes didn't have cameras in their faces where they were concerned. So that was wonderful. And then ended up, after Ohio and Athens, working for Disney at the wide world of sports in Orlando, doing sports marketing, and had another, as I would say, Disney, a magical time there. And so many of my friends and mentors I'm still in touch with. One of them, in fact, is the one who introduced me to TED many years ago, back when it was just still the book and TED Talks. His name's Alex Vergara. If he's there on the call, shout out to Alex as well. But that was really the start of getting to know and combine a little bit of the what I would call the guest experience and the pixie dust, the Disney way, along
Yeah.
with building more on Disney and TED's way of storytelling. So taking all those things, ended up coming to Indianapolis, which is, a huge sporting capital, motorsports, amateur sports, and now on its way to becoming the global epicenter for sports. And, ended up coming here 20 plus years ago and never left. So have been in
All right.
strategic planning consulting for a long time. And then over
Yeah.
the last decade into the TED world as well.
Yeah. So you have your own company as well, your own consulting business. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the company is called Next Practice Partners. And as the term goes, the idea is to move people and organizations away from the way they've always done things with best practices into new ways of looking at and doing things with next practices. So that's really what we're engaged in, is helping people prepare for what's next with strategic master planning, organizational culture change, etc.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Nile, we had already some people saying hi here. Just a quick shout out to Facundo, that is in Argentina. He is on YouTube. River, actually from Indianapolis, first time here. Watching on LinkedIn.
River's son,
We have
Joao, just so you know, River's son is the fastest Paralympian in the world. He won the 100 meters Paralympic gold medal in Paris last year. And he's also part
oh
of our
that
TEDx group. He will actually be at
there you
TEDSports.
go. Thank you for being here with us, River. We had Trini boy in Trinidad and Tobago. There's someone here that I can't see the name, watching on LinkedIn from Biarritz, France. So I see that there's many more people there. Don't be shy. Let us know where you're watching from. Um, but Nilay, so I guess that you meet many aspiring sport business professionals. What's the main advice you usually give them if they come asking you for advice?
Maybe I'll give a couple of them. One that I learned the hard way as well. But I think first up is, don't be in the business of exchanging or collecting business cards. Be in the business of building relationships, right? With sports and in life, it's a big, small world. And, be good to people on your way up, because you're going to meet the same people on your way down.
Brilliant. Can you expand on that? Because some people might confuse it as being the same thing, collecting business cards and creating relationships. So we know
Yeah,
there's
I
a
mean,
big difference there.
there is, right? And there is so much emphasis in sort of this high touch networking focus that we see, whether it's conferences, whether it's organizations, events, where you're chasing titles and people's titles, than actually getting to know people and the relationships. And I've always found the best consulting partners, the best relationships I've had, are people where I've known the people first and had a relationship, because ultimately people want to work with people they like and they trust more than
Yeah,
anything else, right? So to me, that's been the long term success, and something I would tell everybody.
brilliant, brilliant. And so you mentioned that you lived in several countries. how does that multitude of experience shape to your, say, leadership style? What did you
Yeah,
get
I
from
mean,
each place?
sure, right? And obviously, just growing up in India is growing up in 50 countries, right? There's 100 plus official languages, religions. So I was born in a Hindu family. They send me to a Christian school. My adopted sister is Muslim, and my wife is a Sikh, and I'm raising kids in America, right? So
Okay,
just
wow.
on a very personal level, I think the awareness of how much more we have in common, even with all the superficial differences, has always been there. And then I think with travel, whether it's food or music or sport, as you know as well, these are such universal ties and languages that bring people together. So I think for me, the big part in terms of my own leadership style has been whether working and living in Greece, being in Africa for TED, traveling all over the world as well and speaking and meeting people. You know this too with you're running the FIFA Masters program, and what you do so well is despite all the differences, we have so much more in common than not. And I think as I look at my leadership style, it very much reeks with empathy to understand the shared humanity, to understand where people are able to come from, and use that as a way to find more common ground, right? So
Yeah,
as I look at that,
100%.
then the philosophy for me has always been not just tolerating diversity, but really celebrating it.
100%, 100%. I just want to make a slight correction here before I get some messages.
Yeah,
I don't run the FIFA Master. Huh?
yeah, yeah,
I sit in the board of the Alumni Association of the FIFA Master, which is a very strong player
yeah.
within the course, super important and very connected with them. Just to make the clear distinction before people start applying to enter
No,
the
no.
course through me.
Hey, you're a big deal, and you're very, very impactful. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. And Nilay, so tell me a bit more. You mentioned obviously the process how to get to TED Sports, but actually, if you can take a little time to explain how that idea developed. Tell us a bit more on how your connection with TED started. You mentioned the friend that actually connected you there, but how your work developed with them, and then how then suddenly TED Sports, uh, sports, especially for us and everybody watching here, is such a big part of our lives. It's been a big part of your life as well. It's almost surprising that it took kind of so long to have a
Right?
TED Sports.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
right? I
yeah.
don't know if you agree with me, but I want to
100%.
understand a bit of the process, a bit of the reason why now. Um, Walk us through that, please.
Sure, sure. No, I think first up, I felt the same. Like you said, is why has there not been one, right? Like, what took it so long? And I hear that from a lot of people as we pitched the idea. But look, TED's been around for 40 years. It was for a long time one single conference. What a lot of people don't know is sort of the difference with TED and TEDx. Most people that we hear have watched TED Talks, and a lot of them are TED Talks, a lot of them are TEDx Talks. And TEDx is really, in some ways, a local franchise, if you would, that is run by local organizers focusing on local ideas, but under the TED ethos, values, guidelines, etc. So, I've watched talks for a long time as well since Alex introduced me at Disney in 2005 or six. But then the first time my official interaction was I was invited to speak at TEDx Indianapolis here and got to be a part of the event as sort of the opening speaker. I guess I didn't suck, so they had me come back for another talk. Uh,
What was your first talk on?
it was on the power of hello to build bridges and break barriers. Just the simple act of being able to greet people and say bon dia and obrigado, right, is such a nice way to break the ice when you are around the world. So it was just on the small act of getting to know people's language and a little bit to help build bridges and bring people together.
All right. Just before you continue, what I just thought of now is for people that might come watch and watch it later, delayed here on YouTube, especially. we'll include the link for that TED Talk in the description as well, so they can watch that
That sounds good.
or
Yeah,
put in
it's
a card
called.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's the "You Had Me at Hello, Hola, Bonjour" is what the talk was. The first one was called. But anyways, got through that. Did another one for Eli Lilly, the global pharma companies, and their entire organizations, TEDx as well. And one thing led to another. Went from speaking into helping coach TEDx speakers, helping curate some of them, to then starting to organize and co-organize TEDx Indianapolis, and then with some of the folks in Indy helped launch the first TEDx Indianapolis women event as well, back in 2018, 2019. Ran some other TEDx's in College Park as well in the Maryland area. And then, have been going to TED events in 2016, here in Africa, Canada, etc. And I've always seen sports people giving a TED talk, right? There's always one or two people, like Gary Kasparov came once, and Coach
For
John
sure.
Wooden, Serena Williams did one as well. But you think of all the ideas they talked about: innovation, technology, climate change, social justice. Um, all of them have the same thread that can go through sports as well. We just never had an entire event and platform for that. So
Yeah.
pitched the idea last year to TED, and shout out to Jay Haradi, the CEO, who was like, I know the right person you need to talk to, and that's Monique Ruff-Bell. And Monique's the chief program strategy officer with TED. She was the champion from day one to say, this is great, I'll support it. And then Indianapolis is an incredible sports ecosystem, as you know. So our partners with the Indiana Sports Corps. Patrick Tolty is my partner in crime as well, and he's the president of the Sports Corps. Jim Perry, Jeff Ince, a lot of the people there, they all stepped up from day one and said the Sports Corps is behind us. Let's go get this event. Let's launch the first ever event as well. And so it's literally been less than a year of planning from the time we said we're going to do it to actually bring it to life right now. So it's been intense, it's been insane, it's been exhilarating, it's been all of that.
Really cool, really cool. I want to know more about it, but actually, let me remind everybody watching live that Neelay was kind enough to offer everybody watching live now the opportunity to, if you're interested in attending TEDSports Indianapolis, with a very important discount. I think the regular ticket is $2,000. We're giving $750 discount if you're interested in registering. There's a link in the description of the video, whether it's you're watching on YouTube or on LinkedIn. And for everyone that actually shows interest and register to attend, one of them will also be drawn and will win a free ticket kindly offered by Neelay and the team at TEDSports Indianapolis. Is that correct, Neelay?
It is, it is. So we would love to have a global audience continue to show up as well with your ideas and the connections. And, from the list of people who do apply, because you submit your applications, you share your stories, the curation team will look at it, and one person will be invited to have a completely complimentary delegate pass as well. So, do register. Would love to see you all here as well. And then from that,
Yeah.
one of you will certainly, get it all complimentary.
Cool, cool. That's super cool, Neelay. Thank you for offering that to our community watching our video here. Uh, many of us are very familiar with several sports and business events, right? There are many. I won't mention names now, but they're somewhat similar. Uh, Everyone has a special thing, but I want to know, how is TED Sports Indianapolis different? And also, I understand that people know TED from the talks. That's what they see in the videos on YouTube. But I learned uh, a while back from you that there's actually
Yeah.
much more than that. There's a number of experiences. So can you tell us, a little bit more about the event in itself?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, I think firstly, in general, a TED event is unlike any conference I have been to, right? And sure, when you and I met in Lausanne, we spoke about this too. just the sense that it is not about networking, it's about curiosity and relationships, right? So these events in general are meant for deeper conversations, are meant for what we talked earlier, just like true relationship building as you look at this as well. And what you see with these TED talks, typically they make up maybe 15% of an actual TED event. The rest of it is in a completely inclusive, immersive way where, for example, at a TED event as well, all your meals are covered, all your activities are covered, your transportation to and from the activities is all part of the experience, because what they want you to do, and what I found happens so beautifully and organically, is you're making connections while you're standing in line to get your food. You're having a life-changing conversation with somebody you just met sitting next to them on the bus, right?
That's
You're
right.
doing things in activities with people that you would never be in the same room with, and you leave with such a shared connection that you would otherwise never have, right? So that's really where TED is so immersive and so distinct from all of these, that over 3 days, I might not know the bottom line of your company, but I will know your fears, your insecurities, your life itself in a much, much deeper way than I would know at most other conferences where I'm looking at making the next sales deal or exchanging business cards.
That's cool. That's super, super interesting. Um, Not confirmed yet, but I'm really planning to be there in a few weeks' time. 11th, sorry, 9th to 11th.
Yep.
I actually want to remind, we have a good number of people watching. If you have any questions, any comments, please drop in the chat for us. And I would like to know if you can expand a little more on the program, what
Yeah.
people can expect. How did you go about curating first the themes and then the speakers of this first edition?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the most fun and probably some of the most challenging part, right? Because when you think of sports, this goes beyond just events itself. This is the whole ecosystem of sports. So we wanted to ensure we're including all the different facets that make sports so unique. And as you're looking at it, whether it's events, it's venues, it's brands and marketing and storytelling, to sports tech and AI and climate change, to just inspiring stories that span the entire world. And some of the big areas we're really looking to emphasize is also women's sports, right? So that's been some of the topical areas we were very mindful that we want to include as part of this. And that led to the theme called Game Changers. And the idea is that we believe and we know every attendee, every participant, every partner of ours, they are all game changers in their own right as they come to this event as well. So it's very much, in the TED ethos of, saying ideas change everything. We want people to come there and feel like they have changed how they think about things or they see the world based on these talks and these happenings. That was the initial thinking, right? Then as we looked at
Right.
speakers, and I'm sure your folks can put the website link as well for people to see, but we've got
Yeah.
speakers from 6 continents that are going to be here speaking as well, including someone from your home country, a friend who's already been on this interview with you as well, the former
Yeah.
captain
Yeah.
of Brazil and Arsenal's
Yes.
Invincibles, Gilberto
Yes.
Silva. So
Good
Jiva's going to be
friends.
here as well, and
Yeah.
he said to say hello to you as well. But he's going to be here, but he's not going to be talking about winning World Cups. He's going to be talking about mental health and what athletes have gone through with abuse, what fans go through, what people on social media go through. So it's people that you see and hear and know, but talking of things that are very different than otherwise. For the
Yes.
first time ever, we've got the WWE superstar Triple H, who's going to be here talking of how WWE actually comes out with storytelling and crafts the narrative and the entertainment part and all the rest as well, something they've never shared before. We have the president of the NCAA talking of the future of collegiate sports as well and how that's going to be impacted because of name, image, likeness and what's happening now.
Right.
We have conversations on and a panel with mental health with the co-owner of the Colts, with Hope Solo, among others as well. And then because it's TED, right, we've got the cricketer from the Afghanistan women's cricket team who escaped the Taliban after trying 14 times and finally escaped, is in Australia and fought to be able to represent her own country.
I'm surprised to know that they know a female cricket team. I imagine that they train and they play elsewhere.
They're now in Australia and they're training and playing there and all the rest, and they're doing terrific stuff.
Wow.
And we've got, from the sports tech standpoint, we've got AI.io, which is working with the ICC and other countries to find the next Messi, Ronaldo, Serena somewhere in the world using AI and tech. We also have the CEO of the Federation for Sports in Space, right? Talking about what the future would look like, right? Which is very much the TED way. In addition to actually a couple of colleagues from your Lausanne world, the executive director of the International Golf Federation. We have
Anthony.
Sam Ramsamy, the first vice president of World Aquatics, talking of how he worked with Nelson Mandela to use sport to help end apartheid.
Right.
For the esports fans, we've got the president of Riot Games. We've got the CEO of X Games. We've got Tamika Catchings. So as you can see, and then we've got another Brazilian as well, who was actually part of the Rio 2016 Olympics on the sustainability side, talking of the impact of climate change on ocean-based sports, right? And these are just the talks over those 3 days. But the real fun, in addition to these, is where we get into the experiences, Joao. And that's where, as you and I have talked, you get to do things you would not get to do anywhere else. So just a couple of our examples. One
please.
of our speakers, he is the former producer and screenplay writer for iconic sports movies, Hoosiers and Rudy, right? Most American fans will definitely know. Many around the world have probably seen And the Game of Our Lives. He's done all of those. He's going to do a TED Talk. And then in the afternoon, as part of an experience, you get to go to the same gym where he shot the movie Hoosiers to be able to shoot hoops on that court. And I can neither confirm nor deny that he might actually make an appearance there. Right. So having an opportunity like that, we have McLaren that's bringing in their F1 car over that you're going to be able to actually see as well. And then with the Arrow McLaren IndyCar race team, they are going to be talking about teamwork, but you're going to talk about that at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the pit stop with the pit crew, actually doing a pit stop on an IndyCar race car yourself, right?
That's quite impressive, yeah.
So that's really where, and you know this, like the pit stop is the ultimate sort of form of teamwork, right? You've got everyone working precisely same way, same time, same goal. And those lessons apply to business, to life outside of sport as well.
And how does it work when people, so if they go and register and they attend so TED Talks, people they can participate of every experience. They need to choose. They have a menu to choose from. How does that actually work?
It's exactly like you said, right? It is a menu where you have workshops, you have panels, you have these sort of activities all happening as well. And it is first come, first served. So the sooner you register, because the capacity for something like the IndyCar is only for the first 40 people.
Right.
Another experience is with a Super Bowl winning kicker from Seattle, Stephen Hoshka, talking of performing under pressure. But he's going to talk to you about that inside the locker room of the Indianapolis Colts. And then you get to go on the turf and actually kick field goals while being watched by Coach Hoshka. So you have a limited number of people that can do that, right? In all of these activities, and to be able to get in, do that first as well. I think that'll be wonderful. So the idea really, Joao, in this is it is a set number of people. There's multiple things happening. So you pretty much have to pick and choose, but there is no bad option, right? Every one of these are transformative. It simply is a matter of what are you interested in, where somebody might be interested in technology. And we've got professors and researchers from Purdue and MIT that are going to be bringing in humanoid robots that actually play table tennis, ping pong, and to be able to see that as well as part of emerging and future sports tech, to the athletic director of Indiana University, talking about name, image, likeness, and the future of how to run an athletic department, to the mascot of the NFL team, talking about storytelling behind the mask of what and how to build connections with your community if you're running a team and organization, to do that as
Right.
well. So all of these things are happening at the same time, and you will definitely have a lot of FOMO. I always do, because I'm like, oh, this is awesome, but I wish I could do that as well.
Yeah, I'm already feeling that.
That's why you need to be there, man. You need to be here,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, 100%. Neelay, uh, so and you're putting so much effort, blood, sweat, and tears there. You can see there's so much being organized. Um, Ultimately, what is it that you'd like to achieve with this first edition of TED Sports, right? Or in your view, what would make that a success?
Look, I think just having the very first one, it's already a success, right? Launching something new, as you know as well, the joy, to me, the joy is in the journey, right? And we're already successful just with having all these voices, people who are on the call here with you, the meetings, the conversations, the ideas, all the rest. But look, the event is the start of these conversations. When people go back to their cities, to their countries, what are the ideas they are taking away from listening to someone talk of apartheid or climate change or women's sports or the latest technology, and saying, I can now use this to transform lives in my community, right? The ripple effect of these is going to be felt not just for days and weeks, but for years to come. And then these talks, as you know, with TED Talks and all, their reach is incredible. The overall video views for across TED channels is about 370 million a month. So you think of the amplification potential of all these people, all these ideas and conversations that they go back. So to us, in the immediate term, just being able to create these connections, and what we would call Monique from TED always says that it's a playground for the curious, right? Just to have
Right.
this playground for the curious, for people to be there, and then to take these ideas and and go back and really change the world.
Have you ever organized anything similar to that, so of the size or of the scope, or is it just something quite new for you?
Uh, I think having done a number of TEDx events, there is a little bit of a framework for the outcomes and the ethos and the values, but there's never been a TED for sports in the world. So nobody's got any experience with this. It's the first
Yeah, I
one
mean,
ever.
exactly. Sorry,
Yeah.
what I meant is
Yeah.
the TEDx, as you mentioned, is sort of a franchise that's, I guess, when you organize the first one, obviously it's challenging
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well, but you probably already get a lot from it. TED also already exists, so
Mhm.
there's obviously all that support behind, but you kind of create something new.
Yeah.
So that's my question. Is it kind of very similar to doing the TEDx that you did priorly? Is it much bigger than that? How does that compare?
No, it's much bigger, right? It's multiple days, it's the activities, the experiences, so it's there are only 5 official TED events in the world, right? This is one of them, and from those there's only one for sports. So this is one of one from that standpoint. So sure, you can take some of the learnings, and you can say, yes, you organize these events, but analogous to, this is like the Olympics of sports conferences, right? There's one Summer Olympics, there's one Winter Olympics, there's nothing else like that, right? Or the World Cup in
Right,
some ways. So I think this is much more similar to that.
right. And what would you say are maybe the main lessons that you learned now putting this together?
Not to do this in 9 months again. So I think that's definitely, when you take this on, there is so much that happens, and behind the scenes, the process that people may or may not know is how much preparation goes on for every talk. So from the time we are choosing the speakers, they are in speaker coaching with myself and other speaker coaches for months. So they are being coached on their talk. Once the talks are ready, there's fact checking, because nobody goes on the TED stage before being fact checked. So what you're saying needs to have been fact checked before. You have your read-throughs, you have your virtual rehearsals. Everybody has to do a dress rehearsal before you even get on stage. So,
Right.
now imagine that times 30 people, and all of that put together is only 15% of the whole event. So it's
Right.
all the other pieces put in together in terms of the connective dots. So I think those are some of the huge lessons for us, is how much intentionality that we put into everything, where even the dinners that are there are actually themed. So you don't just go and grab a dinner somewhere out at a typical conference like you do at TED. Your dinners are hosted and curated by partners and based on themes. So even there, you have a chance for
Right.
a spark, for a connection, for a conversation, that there is intentionality behind all of that. So that's really been the big learnings for us as we do this, and which we'll continue to implement going forward.
And was there a reason then, or what was the reason then for you to do it in 9 months? Why September? Could you have given you a bit more time, or at that time, because of previous experience, you just have thought that 9 months would be enough? And
I think it's like the cycle with work, right? Work fits the time you have available for it. If we
hmm,
had 15 months, we will need every minute of those 15 months too.
that's right. Yeah.
Right? The planning and the visioning was happening since the conversations last April, with all the execution, and the challenge with the sports conferences, unlike any other, as you know, is we have seasonalities with sport. So you've got, right now, literally the way we've built this is the opening night of our conference is the last regular season home game for the Indiana Fever. So we're going to
Okay.
have a group of people actually go from the opening ceremony and the reception to go watch the Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark, Alia Boston, all of them as well, play the last regular season game. But then if I go 3 weeks later, now the NFL season has started. So that becomes tricky, where we now are able to, because of this window, actually get a 5-time NFL Pro Bowler and the senior exec VP of the NFL, Troy Vincent, who's going to come on to do a TED talk. If we'd gone later, he might not have been able to come. If I
Yeah. Yeah.
go earlier in summer, that time becomes challenging. And we wanted to do something this year because, as you know, starting from next year, there are so many global events happening in the US with the
Yeah.
FIFA Men's World Cup, the Summer Olympics, and the Winter Olympics, Rugby World Cup, all the rest. So that was the sort of the focus with the timing now, is to get that off and launched in 2025.
Great. Great. No, yeah, it's make a lot of sense. Just want to let know because like either we're being very clear in all our communication here, because usually people watching are less shy. They do
Ah,
write the comments and questions, and I can see we have a good number of people watching. So I will invite them maybe less time. Say, don't be shy. Remind them that if they are interested in attending TED Sports Indianapolis, there's a link in the description, which if they follow, they will have large discounts for the tickets, and will enter a pool to get actually a free ticket as well. But yeah, as we move towards the end of our conversation, I want to remind them that they are welcome to ask questions if they want, because they say hi, but if you have comments and questions, so
I
we
did
just
see
had
people from
Francis.
so many countries out there. So I'd be curious as well, even from those who are online, have they been to a TED event before, or is there something that resonates with this? I mean, what made them join right now?
Yeah, well, this is a good question. If you guys want, instead of asking a question, answer Neelay's question, please write down. Yeah, just to update you, we had Mandy from St. Lucia, Iliase from Ottawa in Canada, Jeremy in the US, in Atlanta, Francisco in Brazil, here in Rio, Pav in Birmingham. So these are only the people that are leaving some messages.
Yeah.
Anyway, take your time. We'll check at the end if there are answers or questions. What I want to know from you is actually, what is your favorite TED Talk ever?
Oh my God. I don't know if I can pick one, but I'd say probably the one that I've really enjoyed rewatching. is this one by a TED speaker, Dan Gilbert, talking about the inside the mind of a master procrastinator. Right? He sort of talks about how people procrastinate, and he himself kept procrastinating for his talk. And it's hilarious, it's insightful, it's rewatchable. And I see that now as speakers I've been preparing, right? We've been coaching them for months for this and other events. It's fascinating to get those insights into people, just purely sort of in this, hilarious way as well. And then some really inspiring ones. I saw one last year at the opening of TED when they had two speakers, one an Israeli, one a Palestinian, who have both lost family members in the conflict, out there on stage, again, talking and listening to each other and still trying to find shared humanity. And I thought that was really powerful, right? In that moment, to be there to see that as well. And those are
Yeah.
things that I know if I had just watched the talk on a YouTube channel somewhere afterwards, it would have never felt the same. And I think that's some of the
Yeah.
power of these, right? Is while the video is great and I recognize not everybody can be in person, there are some of these moments where if you are in person at that point in time, you are forever changed by those conversations. So that's where I really find the value of being there in person.
100%. By the way, are there Q&As after the presentation, or such a presentation and then a change? Because we almost ever see any Q&As, just the presentation, then they cut the video. Is there a opportunity for people to ask questions?
There are, and it's not sort of an open source with the crowd, but the curators will often, have a follow-up question or two as well that they will ask, but that's also only for the in-person audience, right? So you're the one who gets to see it, to engage with them. And then part of what we built, and this is really the beauty of the TED events, our speakers don't come and just leave after they speak. Gilberto Silva will be here for 3 days. The entire time of the conference, for example, along with almost all of our speakers that come before the event starts and stay till the end. So you have opportunities both organically and structured after your talks where you get to meet the speakers and not just, take a selfie, get an autograph or something, but actually have a conversation with them. Talk about the
Yeah.
idea, talk about the mission, talk about what resonates, and be able to do that at a TED conference. And you will be at TED Sports, where after every session, 30 minutes after each session is just reserved for all the speakers to be there for you to go meet them and actually have a conversation with the speakers.
Right. Yeah. Right. We do have some comments now. I just want to let you know that, well, I've obviously watched more than 100 talks, many more probably. I like one that came to my mind was Ken Robinson's, Sir Ken
Oh, of
Robinson's. I think
course.
he
Yeah,
get
yeah.
multiple one, but I don't know
Yes.
if that was his first one. It's awesome, really, really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And I recently watched one or rewatched one by I won't remember his name. Is a sort of maybe I can call him a kid or a very young guy. That is a short TED talk about nothing. Don't know if you've ever seen this one, but it's a quite a clever one, fun and clever one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think and that's the thing. There are so many of these as well. And as you think of technology, entertainment, design, they certainly touch upon every aspect of what might pique your curiosity or interest.
Right, cool. Here, a few more comments. So, Robert Vistelvai sounds like a really great program, Neelay. Once that sports reaches Switzerland, I'm happy to join. Come on, Robert. You'll enjoy Indiana. Trini Boy, which I think is Adil, says that Nike Wilson's TED Talk brought him here. So I haven't seen that one. And there's a question here from Marie-Edith Michel. Have you engaged any women Olympian athletes for this TED Sports?
Yep, yep. And she's another dear friend as well. Her son Malik is going to change the world. So great to have you on the call here as well. She's done amazing work in the parks and recreation field in the Maryland area and around the country. But yes, one of our speakers actually, she is a refugee from Cameroon, now in the UK, and is the first person in history to win an Olympic medal as part of the IOC's refugee team last year in Paris as a boxer. She won the
All
bronze
right,
medal. Her name's Cindy Ngamba.
bro.
So Cindy is going to be speaking as well. Tamika Catchings is going to be there talking of women's sports. Obviously I mentioned Hope Solo. Kerry Walsh Jennings, the beach volleyball goat, is going to be talking about preparing like a champion as well. So yes, lots and lots of them.
Right, right. And if we kind of look back at your career now, we're moving towards the end of the conversation. If you were to give an advice to your younger self, what would that be?
Don't try to be the smartest person in the room, be the most trusted. When you're younger, and I know for myself, particularly coming from a different country, not having any experience in sports, not knowing anybody that did what I did, the way to sort of overcome a little bit of your insecurities at that time to try to fit in was try to show how smart you are, right? And to sort of lean more on that versus just being the most trusted person, right? And I think over time, I've learned that. I advise young people for the same thing. Because ultimately, as I said earlier on too, it's all about relationships, and people will always prefer to work with somebody they trust and build relationships with. And it's incredible how sometimes these are such simple, organic ones. I also want to give a shout out to one more person, Jamie Core as well. Jamie is one of our guest curators as well.
Oh yeah,
He and I have met for the
a
longest
good
time
friend too.
online. Correct. I know he's a good friend. He's now in Lausanne as well, master
Yep,
strategist, communicator, storyteller as well. But again, met him virtually. He went out of his way to help make connections, build people. And I finally have met him just once briefly. But it doesn't have to be where you meet people for years to build relationships. Some of them just happen. Just the same with
yep.
you. Met you briefly, and here we are talking together.
There you
So,
go. Yeah,
I look at this as quality. And as you look at these and, over time, over the years, you find that the ones that matter will stick around.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I totally agree with that. And you have a long career in sport. The people that are starting now, is there any common myth about working in sports that you would like to debunk?
uh, I think maybe for those who haven't worked in sports yet, right, it's not as sexy as everybody thinks on the outside, but it's meaningful. Right? Because the real work is not happening at the game time. The real work is happening behind the scenes after the game when you're cleaning up, when you're planning for all of this. And you've been in those spaces, you know it. There
Yeah,
is not going to be, especially in our field, there is no substitute for hard work. There is no substitute for relationships. So to me, a lot of the myth of, I can get a degree and tomorrow I'm going to be the CEO. Start your own company, you sure can. But if you're going to be in places where you have to work, you need to be able to roll up your sleeves and do all the stuff that goes into building the groundwork before you get to that point as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, totally agree with you.
Yeah. What would
It's
you tell
meaningful.
people? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
It's meaningful and it's fun as
It
well.
is.
Uh,
Yeah.
the one myth that I always debunk is that people think there's a lot of money in sports. They see Cristiano Ronaldo, and there are some transactions that really gets people attention, but
Yeah.
there isn't. There's a few people that make a lot of money. The majority of people actually, compared to several other industries, if you get a
Yeah.
similar type of position, you'll earn less than them because there's a lot of passion. Many people would pay to go and work in sports, work in
Yeah.
events, and that drives, that down. I did a research recently about, how much money is there in sports. So what's the size of
Yeah.
the industry? And depending how you measure it, you go to numbers like, I don't know, close to $1 trillion to maybe 2 or 2.5 trillion as an industry. And when you said that number, people think, wow, that is a lot of money.
Mm.
But then if you realize that that's less than the market cap of a few companies,
Yeah.
then right? Then you see that it's not that much. But yeah, that's maybe the main myth I usually want to debunk.
Sure. Sure.
However, it is fun though.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
agree. And I think the whole introduction of STEM and the technology fields in sports has started to raise areas of interest and what people can earn that they otherwise couldn't before as well. And now, to your point with technology companies, you see Apple, Amazon of the world all getting into sports too, that I think there's going to be far more crossover, that you may have more lucrative opportunities. But the baseline, you have to do this for the passion, not the money.
yeah, yeah. That's still very much what drives the industry. I think that's
Yeah.
why it is sometimes maybe so meaningful, as you said, and it is
Yeah.
fun. But you know, it's a very rare one will actually get rich working in that industry. Nilay, so with your journey, what you're doing, I'm sure that you have inspired many people. I'm sure that you inspired people today, some that are watching us. Who has inspired you?
Uh, Most probably more than anyone else, my grandmother. She has since passed, but she was born before India became independent. So she actually grew up in a country that wasn't free, and till she was 16 lived that way. Didn't have a formal degree or education, but fought for India's independence. Uh, Learned English in her 60s, Bollywood dance in her 70s, and attended her first ever cricket match in her 80s. And she
Awesome.
still traveled to America in her 80s as well. And I think what has stuck with me always is how resilient she was and how much I've taken away from that as well, to both be a lifelong learner and understand that education and learning have nothing to do with each other, as long as you have the joy to learn and the zest for life, you can do
Yeah,
anything. So she's been and will be my greatest role model.
awesome. Yeah, that's beautiful. Very, very nice. And to finish, well, not to finish, there's a couple more, but what's your then favorite sporting moment?
Oh my
I
God.
imagine it's a cricket event.
It's hard, man. I'd probably, I'll take two. If I could, I think it's tied between being at the opening ceremony of the Olympics in 2004. As a young person, you're only seen it on TV, and you're just
Yeah.
there, and it's unreal. And then last year, we got to be at the opening match for the India Pakistan Cricket World Cup. And if you followed cricket, that's this rivalry. I grew up in India, always had that. I've dreamt for 20 years to have a World Cup in the US, worked on things for that too. Never thought it would happen, much less being there. And I was there with my wife and my kids with the national anthem playing there. And then, of course, India won the game. So it was like perfect in every which way as well. So I think the two of them probably are my two favorite sporting memories.
Okay, Trini boy here was afraid that you would mention India beating West Indies in '83.
I was too young at the time to remember that 25, but that's certainly a great memory too.
All right, all right. Um, I always ask my guests before we go um, to mention or to recommend a book
Yeah.
or a podcast or a YouTube channel, anything that you'd like to recommend before we go.
I'd probably say, a couple maybe. On the TED front, I'd say, certainly look at the official TED guide to public speaking. Uh, and also, there's another book called Confessions of a Public Speaker. If you're looking to be serious in storytelling and want to know more about it, especially in today's times with technology, AI, texting, all the rest, the ability to communicate is so important. And if you can find just one thing to help improve and do better, that's a skill I would say. Presentation literacy is something you absolutely must acquire. Uh,
And what about so since we're on that topic, um, how then did you learn public speaking? Do you have any technique? I tried I went to a Toastmasters once,
yeah,
lovely, but just because of time didn't really continue.
yeah,
Not great, I think, but I'm much better than I was, and
yeah.
I personally never liked it, and I still don't, to be frank.
Mm.
Don't feel that comfortable, but just do it, right? And just by
Yeah,
doing it,
yeah,
you kind of
yeah.
just improve it. But perhaps they're actually apart from iterating, there are some techniques and there's some advice that you can give to people that wants to become a good public speaker.
Yeah. No one grows up being a public speaker or is good. It's always been the reps. My father made me stand on a table to speak because I was so shy, just to speak. And I think with the speakers now, more and more what we've found is that, to me, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, right? As I advise people, write your talks or speak in a language that I put in my frame of reference, my 7-year-old daughter and my 87-year-old grandmother can both understand. If you can speak in that way, then you've truly mastered the art. The second piece I say is, can you tell me your entire message in one line? If you do, then you truly know what the message is about. If you don't, then go back and simplify.
Ah, that's the hardest thing ever. But yeah, I agree with you. So you did recommend a few books. I don't know if you would like to recommend anything else, as I mentioned,
Yeah, a couple
podcast
of
or YouTube
podcasts
channel.
I'd say for sure. One is Adam Grant, Rethinking. He's a huge TEDster as well, incredible TED Talks. His books are terrific. But I love the research that goes into his conversation with people, and he spans so many different ideas. And then more recently, someone else that I've interviewed and had some of these conversations with launched Emo, Craig Robinson and his sister Michelle Obama. And so they've
Right.
got one recently as well. Those are the couple that I, would listen to, and I'd say certainly recommend folks to do that.
Cool, cool. And how, before we go now, how can people get more information and attend TED Sports Indianapolis? Any other thing we have, as I mentioned to everybody that is still here with us, we're almost wrapping up. There's a link in the description that takes you to the site with already a link, a code included to give you a $750 discount on the ticket. So huge discount. Thank you, Neelay. But anything else that you'd like to add to that?
No, I think, for those interested, firstly, thank you, Joe, for actually doing this as well and helping to spread the word and the conversations and the continued work you do in championing ideas and helping people excel in sports. This is one more step. If you're serious about your career, about growing, about learning, about making true connections, this is the kind of place you want to be in, and the ideas you want to take away with you as well to grow in your field, to grow your company, wherever you are. So register on the website. And as we said, from those who register and share their stories, we will definitely pick one of you to have a full delegate scholarship to be able to attend as well.
Awesome.
And then, a friend of Joao is a friend of ours. So as all of you reach out through this group, happy to have further connections, ideas, etc. And we're in this together. So, whatever we can do to help, we're happy to do that.
Thank you, Neelay. Just before I let you go, since there are a few other messages here, I don't have their name, but from LinkedIn saying that Arshad Nadim did a great job in Paris 2024, gold medal,
Yeah.
and now Hope, what a country wanting to throw a javelin, okay?
Yeah.
And Marie Edith, I don't know if she's
Edith,
American or French. Edith, yeah. Michelle, get Julian Alfred from St. Lucia for next year's event. So here's a recommendation.
Great.
All right. Listen, Neelay, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I can't recommend enough people that are on the fence, thinking of going to TEDSports Indianapolis, especially if you're already in the US. Don't miss it. If you're not there, certainly I think it definitely justifies the investments to go there. So I hope to see everybody that attends the event in a few weeks. And yeah, thank you. And I want to thank everybody that's participated, left messages and encouragement. And I hope that to see everybody back here again very soon.
Brilliant. Thank you again. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Neelay. I will just ask you to stay there another second until we close the stream. Bye-bye, everybody. Until the next time.